Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening. This is Laquita Monley. It is Thursday. It is 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Actually, it's 6:06 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I am coming to you with another live broadcast here today where we are endeavoring that all of our viewers leave this feeling more encouraged, they're feeling more empowered, and they're feeling like they have the ability to reach their destinies. Amen. Today,
Amen.
very special guest is Dr. Patricia Adams from San Antonio, Texas. And she's going to be talking with us today and giving us some great, great wisdom for us to be able to take in, chew it, and digest it and help us to become a better us. Whether we want to become a better us for our spouses, our loved ones, for our businesses, our careers, whatever it is that you're endeavoring to do to become a new and improved you. Dr. Adams is going to give us some great, great things today. And I'm super excited to have her with us. Hi, Dr. Adams. How are you today?
I am well and blessed, Lakita. Thank you so much for having me here today. I want to thank your listeners for tuning in at 6 o'clock for this time that we're going to be sharing together.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. You know, as we as it is with my show, sometimes I have, most of the time, I do try to have guests on, and so that the guests will be able to share their wealth of knowledge with the listeners and with the viewers that tune in. And I like to take the time to thank my viewers, those who continue to log in and support me week after week across Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitter. Thank you guys so much. And as always, please, as you see the broadcast come on, continue to like and share the broadcast. Continue to like and share the broadcast, no matter what social media platform that you're viewing from on today. And as well as on YouTube, please subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and share this broadcast with people who you know that will be able to benefit from it. And today, Dr. Adams is going to be talking to us about mental health. Mental health is a topic that many people have not such a great opinion of. But I know for myself personally and for my family that ensuring that our physical health and our mental health is something that we take a lot of energy to do, that we like to ensure that not only are we physically healthy, we're mentally healthy and we're spiritually healthy. And that's something that Dr. Adams is going to share with us today. Dr. Adams, if you could please tell us more about who you are and about your practice.
Well, first of all, Lakita, this is a very personal setting for you and I. So drop the title and just call me Patricia. Okay.
Okay.
So we are currently an outpatient behavioral health and wellness company in San Antonio, and we provide face-to-face counseling, medication management, mindfulness sessions, parenting sessions, and my favorite of all in the practice is the work that we do with couples to lead them from a path of infidelity back into a healthy relationship with their spouses. So my license is marriage and family therapist. My doctorate is in counseling and theology. So I actually practice in the state of Texas as a licensed marriage and family therapist. But I'm also the president and CEO of Zeitgeist Wellness Group, and we provide these services statewide in Texas. And just recently, we're excited to say that we just established a new relationship with one of our partnering companies in Florida. So we cover the entire state of Texas, and well as now we're branching into the state of Florida. So very excited about the trajectory of the company. We've been in business for 21 years, and we love what we do. And I think we do it. I know we do it par excellence. How can I say that?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You know, that's a great testimony that you guys have with what you're able to provide here to the citizens of the state of Texas, and now branching out and being able to reach out into the state of Florida. And that is a great blessing in itself without COVID-19, but especially in light of COVID-19. I know that no matter where our viewers turn on something, they can find out some information about COVID-19, whether they want to know it or whether they don't want to know it.
Sure.
And I know so the conversation is being had that, you know, what type of impact COVID-19 is having on our economy. But I'd like to just take a minute to see what type of impact have you seen the repercussions of COVID-19 having on the mental health of those that you come in contact with? Has that caused your business to increase in that you're seeing more patients, or has it begun to make it decrease at all?
Overall, we actually saw a decrease in first-time people seeking care when it came to COVID-19, because everybody, in my humble opinion, everybody felt like, well, we're all going through it. And since we're all going through it, what makes my scenario more different than the next person? But as this curve continues to grow up versus coming down, we're now seeing the impact of parents at home trying to homeschool and do their jobs at the same time. We're seeing that couples are more aggressive towards each other, if you will, because how do you manage this space that we're all in at the same point in time? So in the very beginning, we really saw a decrease, and I was a little bit concerned. But again, I kept thinking, no, we don't really want to profit off of the fact that people are more stressed than they were before. And so, but now we've seen that curve kind of go back up, especially with the introduction of more televideo and telephonic sessions that we're allowed to do now. Now, my company has been in the televideo, telemedicine business, telecounseling business for over 10 years. This is not new to us. But there are a lot of people now that are coming into this space because the volume of clientele actually has gone up since the time frame of this continues to go on. So we anticipate that we'll see more afterwards too. And unfortunately, the statistics on, child abuse have somewhat gone up, at least 5% in the state of Texas. Wow. As it relates to, again, us being in these close quarters all the time, trying to manage our jobs, if we still have one, and manage our lives, manage our children, because they are still going to school. And so we've seen an increase, but as far as I'm concerned, behavioral health and wellness is just like taking care of high blood pressure. It is something that needs to be addressed and looked at without the stigma attached to it, because we're still going to be in business before COVID, during COVID, and when COVID is over.
I really thank you so much for bringing that up, that stigmatism. What would you say, or maybe 3 to 5 key things that we can do to help remove that stigma, or if we know we have some friends or some loved ones or something to that effect that need to seek some help? What are some of the things that we can do to help encourage that person to remove the negative stigma that sometimes becomes attached to mental health care?
Girl, now you see I had to change the position in my chair because I got a little relaxed all of a sudden. And let me tell you one thing. First of all, you are not crazy if you come and see me. Okay?
Yeah.
You're not crazy.
Yeah.
You're not crazy is when you don't show up.
Okay.
Yelling with your kids, fighting with your husband, biting your nails down to a nub, pulling your hair out, screaming and yelling at folks. Girl, I can go on and on and on. It's what you do for the sake of being mentally well. I'd like to take mental health off the title altogether. When I really get excited about it, this is behavioral health. We can even take that stigma off. Can I just get some help?
Okay.
We don't always think clearly.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't do things quick enough. I heard somebody say the other day, which I love, I want you to apologize swiftly and completely. By the time I apologize, it's 2 days later and somebody's still mad. So learn to apologize swiftly and completely. You don't know these things. Sometimes it's just good to talk to somebody outside of your family, your friends. And when I'm doing therapy, I always ask people, who's my co-therapist? Because sometimes I know y'all, as soon as you leave the therapy, said, girl, let me tell you what Dr. Adams said today. It's not what Dr. Adams said. It's what you said to me that helped me to clarify what you just said so we can get to moving down the highway the way you want to move down the highway.
Right.
Pepper picture pepper sometimes, people. It's what we do. Most of us wouldn't think about not getting our nails done when there's no COVID-19 out there. Men go get their hair cuts. Women do their pap smears every year. Men are supposed to get their prostate exams done after age 40. Why can't we look at getting help, coaching, behavioral health, mental health support, if you will, before the elephant gets too big in the room? Because by the time it gets to me, it's so big, I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do when it's that big.
In terms of, so if I hear what you're saying, normalize it the way that we normalize the types of medical appointments, the annual and continual medical appointments that we have to maintain our physical health, we should normalize and implement a regular regimen, however regular is defined for you, a regular regimen of, if we could call it talk therapy, if you will, being able to come in and come in physically or telephonically or through video chat, being able to see someone that can help us come to a place where we're able to think through or talk through a situation and bring about clarity in the way that we're responding to ourselves or in helping correct that thought pattern.
Correct. And let me break it down one more time. If you're a man and you're the one responsible for changing the oil in the car, if you wait till the time frame passes to change the oil in the car, we all know what happens to a car. Blows up the engine. So I think men can understand it that way too. They wouldn't even consider going past that 30 or 60, 90-day window. I don't know. I don't change the oil in my car. My husband does. They would think of not doing it or checking the pressure in your tire. Why do we wait to go get the support when the elephant is so big? Try to go get it along the way. So again, on the road of life, we're going to get to that in a couple of sessions down the road. On the road of life, when you're just living, don't wait till things get bad before you try to take care of it.
Before you try to take care of it, it's something that you want to do when you recognize that there is a problem.
Correct.
And if you're talking about couples, if one person is saying something continuous enough, whether or not the other partner sees it as a problem, it is a problem whether you understand it or not. So you need to be able to seek some a third party that can help you guys examine that a little bit more, talk your way through it, so you don't end up shouting your way through it.
That's exactly right. And so now you're doing my job. So like the preacher, stop meddling. You do your job and let me do mine. But that was a great recap of what we try to get couples to see. Because everybody hasn't read the manual on marriage. The average couple that gets married, all they're worried about is that wedding and those gifts and what they look like. Like I keep messing with my hair right now and I need to change the lighting. But they don't think about, oh, well, I don't like this about him, but I'm going to change it. Or I don't like that about her, I'm going to change it, but I'm going to do it on my own. Most people don't even read parenting manuals. That's why there's parenting books. So you can do a little research before these children come along and practice some things that are healthier for you versus, oh, I'm going to raise these kids the way my parents raised me. Or in many cases, people say, oh, I'm going to do something my parents didn't do. Well, how do you know and how to add what you don't want because you didn't have it, but you want something different? So that's what this is all about. We're not trying to look at you again like you're crazy. We're trying to come alongside of you to help redirect you and put some positive things in your relationship with those that you love. That's what it's all about.
Awesome. So in terms of helping to remove that negative stigma that sometimes comes with going to seek counseling, one of the things that we can recap and say is to begin to normalize it and categorize it with, I understand that I've got to go get my teeth cleaned at least once a year. I understand that I got to go and get my vision checked at least once a year. You know, I've got to go in and get my annual physical and these annual appointments for my physical body. Then I also need to understand, and even for those of us that are believers, we understand the necessity of spiritual health. And spending your time in prayer, spending your time in the word, spending your time fellowshipping with like-minded believers, whether it's at church and home Bible study groups, et cetera, et cetera. We need to understand that need to normalize seeking mental health is something. That's how we're going to help to remove the negative stigma, is by normalizing it and not making it seem like something that's a bad thing, but it's a normal practice and it's a needed normal practice that we have to do. And now, in light of the, I guess, technological advances, we're able to do these things before where we were saying, okay, I don't have time to go and do it. But now that we're able to do things telephonically and we're able to do things via video chat, do you see that being able to deal with your clients in those two ways, is it as effective as it is seeing them face to face?
Some people like the atmosphere of the therapeutic space. You typically have the proverbial ficus tree, which I have the peace lily, and mine's live tonight. But so they like that, but technically speaking, we don't touch people. We're not huggy feely with them. So we address three things when they come: what they feel, what they do, and what they think. And so when I'm in a video chat with them, I keep the environment real calm, real quiet. Sometimes I put my noise busters on and I'm looking right in their eyes and I'm saying, seems like you're about to start crying. And I see their lips quivering and I'm saying, what was it about what you just said a second ago that brings you to the point of tears? And then they start crying because you're dealing with their affect when they come to therapy. When you think about, well, what did you do when you felt bad? Well, I held my puppy, or I called my mom, or I got down on my knees and prayed, or I did a mindful meditation moment. We're dealing with what did you do when you felt what you felt? And ultimately, we're dealing with their cognitions, their thoughts, their beliefs about COVID-19. We have some people that are so scared that the sky is falling. And so we've got to help them to come back to a place where those thoughts aren't just racing in their head. So technically speaking, we're doing the same thing, whether or not we're talking to you in the room or whether or not we're with you behind the computer. We're dealing with what you feel, we're dealing with what you do, and we're dealing with what you think. So I find it just as effective as if I was sitting in the room with you. And I've been transitioning in this space for, like I said, the last 7 years. And so we're very busy with that now. As a matter of fact, with these couples being home, we're doing this more couples therapy behind the computer than I've ever done before. I would say that's a major change right now. It's the couples that we're seeing.
It's the couples. Oh, talk to us a little bit about that. I guess, how do I want to say this question? With having couples and having that couples therapy via video conferencing, and let's, like you said, let's remove COVID-19 from the table. Let's remove that from the table in the conversation. Then how impactful has this been able to be for couples being able to have a counseling space where they can receive counseling via video chat and telephonically? And I'm going to ask this from this perspective. My husband and I are a military family, so oftentimes we're not in the same space. Like, we're not often even in the same country. But and have people that say are truck drivers, businessmen and women, where those spouses may often be on separate sides of the country, separate sides of the world. How impactful has this been for them to be able to get a continuity of care, even though work has had them to be in separate spaces?
Previously, they couldn't do it because they were in separate spaces. But now, just like you are in one part of Texas and I'm in the other state, we log them on the computer. They can be side by side, just as this presentation is. And we're talking about the same things. How is your affect affecting your relationship? What is this being on the road doing for you? What does it mean being TDY? And how is it impacting your relationship with your children? How's it impacting your relationship with your parents? So we're doing the same things. And then they're looking at each other. If they're sitting by each other on the couch like we were yesterday, they seem very relaxed. And I have to tell people, put the camera in the right place so I can see everybody. And those who may be a little bit more intense with each other, we say, hey, can you put a camera on in the room with your computer and you sit over there? So we teach them how to use that space to also deal with conflict and move through that. But I find that the couples are very engaged. As a matter of fact, one texted me today and said, we're in. I mean, they're going to be doing first and third Saturday with us. I think this week alone, I've done 8 clients that are couples behind the computer. And I've point blank asked them, would you be doing this if you weren't at home? And they said, probably not. What drove you to come in now versus before? This platform just made it so much easier for them. And again, on some level, this pandemic, and we said we're going to take it off the table, is bringing people to the table to say, we need to deal with this. Because they are in these close spaces together. You know, my husband and I, we've been married 30 plus years. We have 4 kids, and 3 of them are already adulting very well. So proud of them. Actually, there's 5 kids, and we call them all adulting very well. We've got people in New York. Hopefully they're listening in. We've got folks in North Carolina, Hopefully they're listening, giving a shout out. Can you tell? Got somebody hope y'all listening in. And got my daughter Keely. I called your name. She's in Tennessee. Hey girl, hope you're listening in. But I found too that people who have children across the globe are being able to connect through this platform and dealing with some of those family of origin issues that, again, we'll talk about. So I find that it's working very well. I absolutely love it because Roosevelt and I, we go out, we walk for 10,000 steps every morning before we start our day. We have our business meetings, we have our family time, we have our couple discussions so the children can't hear us. And then we get on. Get online with other people and try to teach them things to do better, helping them to facilitate great conversation in their relationships. And so it really works. There's no travel because you just go to your room and log on. So that stigma is now being removed. Your children can sit in another room, and when COVID comes back, they said, well, how are we going to do this? We'll get a babysitter to come to your house so you guys can log on and really focus on what's going on with you. So I'm loving it. I'm telling you, I love it. And I'm glad, again, that we're seeing more couples than just the individual behind the computer. So
that's some really, really, really great insights. I never really thought about it in those terms before, because over the years where my husband and I had to seek out counseling, you're right, it was where we had to organize our calendars. We had to sync our calendars and see what is going to work, what day is going to work, what day is not going to work. They're trying really hard not to interrupt the kids' activities. So, and if you're like us, Ben and I have been married 20 plus years, 23, 24 years, right? And we've got 5 kids, and we've got now our 5th grandchild we're expecting. But when they were younger, trying not to interrupt their extracurricular activities while mom and dad are trying to figure out how to navigate through some muddy waters or deal with that elephant that's been in the room for entirely too long. So now it's time to deal with it without upsetting the family dynamic. And sometimes that made it very difficult to seek the help that we need, even though we may have both been on board and said, okay, we need help. But if the demands of the Army says this, but the therapist calendar said that, then the demands of the Army generally overrule what we needed, and vice versa. It wasn't always his career. If my work schedule said this,
right,
so it had to be some give and take, or the children had some away games, or you had some home games, and it had been a long time since we've been able to support, and then they say, okay, mom and dad, you're both home, but why are you not coming to my game? So
right.
Having this ability now to be able to seek the care that you want to seek. It wouldn't have mattered if Ben was, TDY. He could have logged in from his device, and I could have logged in from my device, and whoever was taking the kids to do whatever, let me pop into the car for a few minutes, let me take care of my appointment. And then the kids still say, okay, you're present there. I know mom came. I know mom did this. You're still there. I caught this portion right here. So yeah, I can see, just from my perspective, I can see how this can be a great thing for couples. Yeah. Something that you mentioned there for a minute, where you were talking about getting your 10,000 steps in the morning, getting your necessary couple time in. What are some things right now that you would suggest? Like I said, I want to take COVID off the table. So let's just say couples who are finding themselves spending a whole lot of time looking at each other where they were not normally looking at each other consistently every day. What are some things, some healthy practices that you would encourage them to begin to implement to help to deal with that? Because me and Ben and I have been married 20 plus years, but to be honest, in that 20 plus years, life happens. So to say that we were consistently sitting there, him looking at me and me looking back at him every single day, day in and day out, and nobody has anywhere to go and they can't go, that has never happened.
Well, again, what we've been encouraging people to do is to walk together. We love it. We've been doing it for years. I like to get my 10,000 because once I walk back in the house and I'm dealing with the business side of the company and then the clinical side of the company, it's hard to get that many steps in when you're in your house. I tested it out a couple of days ago and I only did 1,000 steps in the house, but I had already completed 10,000 steps by the time we had gotten back in for our first meeting. So Roosevelt's also an entrepreneur, so our lives are a little bit different than most. So we walk together. Now we're eating breakfast together. That's our primary. And afterwards, we eat our breakfast together. He cooks it. He cooks breakfast. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
And then we have to start homeschooling our son. And so Jay's responsibility is to go run first thing in the morning, get his calisthenics out of the way. And then we start doing math and all these other things. And it works well. Then we got to shut down everything about 12:30 or so, because then he starts blowing that saxophone, because that saxophone time, we designated that because it's sort of cross lunchtime for us. Then we do that. And then we spend some time together before dinner, just wrapping up. How did things go? And we shut down work. That's it. So then we want to eat dinner, which we do. We eat dinner together now. And for many families, they are now having the opportunity to eat dinner together because we're all home together. So that's been really cool to see how we can say, okay, dinner time is at 6 o'clock. So now we're going to eat dinner, clean up everything together. Like my pastor preached this whole series several years ago called Making Room for Life. And he really taught us one time how to have dinner time, where there's conversation across the table with everybody and how everybody's opinion is important. And you share that family time together. And then, of course, if we want to go out and walk again, we do. We like to take the dog down the street for a walk. And there you have it. There's the day. Now, Jay's out of school, so we can't put him to bed like we used to at 9. But we do try to keep him on a schedule and say, Lovey, we call him Lovey. You would hate it to hear me say that. Call him Lovey. You have to be in the bed by 10.
And be like, did you say that?
Lovey, yeah. And then you have to give us your phone by 9:30, because he would be on that phone till in the morning if he could. So we're trying to keep the family on the schedule. And of course, right now, our alone time again is after Jay goes to bed. So we can talk, watch a movie without him present, or just do whatever else we're going to do. And there's our day with COVID-19. Without COVID-19, it was somewhat similar. But we didn't really have dinner time because I would stay work longer. He would be coming home. So we're really hoping that COVID is going to teach us something about the importance of going back to that really community time in family. We're being forced to do it right now. But wouldn't it be nice if we're looking to learn something out of this, to say, you know what, that 6:30 is hard. It's a hard number. Dinner is hard. Family together at 6. Blah, 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 so that we can get back to maybe what God is trying to teach us. We maybe have lost our way and we're just working all over the place and not giving the family the relationship, the family and the couple relationship, the time that it deserves. And it tells us that the couple in scripture is first. So our relationship without our children is paramount. And then we engage them in the family. So that's how we're doing it. We're loving it. I'm teaching people to do the same thing. People are telling me, even military folks, they're saying, hey, Doc, I'm glad that the military has also told us to stay at home and work with this COVID thing, because I'm getting to see my children more. I'm getting to see my wife more. I'm getting to see my husband more, because on some sense, society, the way we are, has taken that family time, that family engagement, that couple engagement for us. So I'm hoping and praying that some of us will look at this and say, okay, God, I got it. You were telling me to slow down. You were telling me to look at Roosevelt and give him a little bit more eye contact. You're telling me to slow down and be with Jonathan versus I'm in one room and Jonathan's in another room on his phone, but we're talking about, oh, we're together as a family. So I said a lot. You know how I am. You know, I'm just so opinionated. You know.
But what you said, though, it's very valuable. And I definitely can agree with that on a lot of different levels. And that because I share that when I look at the fact that we are now, because of having to quarantine, I look at this, and even with the school closures, and I've said a number of times on previous broadcasts, that especially in the community of believers, this is to me a time where God is allowing us to shift back and to come back to his original intent for family, and to put the parents back into a primary position of influence in their children's lives. Where if you look at it, when our children go to school, no matter how old they are, but let's focus on middle school and high school students just for a moment, because those are the ages where kids begin to do a lot of school sanctioned after school activities. They're
Sure.
supposed to be on sports teams. So if they're at school by 7 a.m. and their practice isn't over until 5:30 or 6 p.m., and I'm just now coming to get them, that's a large chunk of time where there have been more people, more adults, as well as young people that have been influencing my children. And that influence may not be in alignment with my core values. And if those are the voices that are continuously speaking to them regularly, and those voices represent what they have seen normalized in popular culture through TV and music, then does that, where it dims my voice. And now that we're all together again, my voice has now become the primary voice again. And the values and the culture of my home is something that they're not even, they're involuntary or unconsciously embracing it, because now you're back to what we deem as normal and as correct. And that puts me back in a place of even for my adult children, now that puts me back into a place of influence in their life. Like one of my oldest sons, I did a live with him a couple of weeks ago. I am now having to try to understand his music. Now, I'm not saying that like I never listened to secular music, because I did. It's just been a long time. But now he's at a place too where he'll actually talk to me about it, ask my opinion on it. I can give him feedback about it, and we're not arguing about it. Whereas in times past, we would have argued about it. All of my feedback would have been negative because it's not something that I subscribe to.
Right.
You know, and so it has been a very, very positive situation, even for my adult children. Even a couple of nights ago, we played Munchkin, and Denise, I will win that next game. I'm up late past my bedtime. It's like one something in the morning, and all of my children were playing the board game Munchkin, and it's a serious battle. It's a serious battle going on, but we're having fun. And I'm sitting and looking at them. The youngest person at the table was 8 and is 17. But still, in that moment, the Lord allowed me to see them, and I saw them as if they were still 9, 10, 8 years old. Because at that time, everybody just wanted to beat mommy, or there were questions that came up. It's like, mommy, I know you know the answer. And I did not. I did not know the answer. And all eyes were like, Mom, for real? Yeah, no, I know that. Even though the answer was in the question, Mariana Trench, it just went right over my head. But it was good. It was a good thing to do. It was a good time together with the kids. And I really, like I said, I really identify with what you're saying. Putting the family back into a healthy position by learning each other again, especially those who have, like I say, if you have adult children. I know my children as kids. I knew them as teenagers. There's that constant battle and trying to find balance on how to deal with them as adults. And this time is allowing me to work through that with them.
And a lot of people are feeling that way. A lot of people are feeling that way, that they were disconnected from their children, and now they're finding out, hey, I need to slow down and ask some better questions. So I know you had asked me what is something I really want to say.
Yes, please.
And so what I want to do is encourage couples as well as parents, as well as family members, ask better questions and listen for the answers. Sometimes we have a propensity to be able to want to tell people what the answer to the question is. But we need to sit back and ask better questions. And there's always one question that I ask people not to ask, and that's the question of why. Especially when your children are little. Why did you hit your brother? I'm not going to call my children's names out, but they know who I'm talking about. Why did you hit your sister? What's the proverbial answer? Oh. What? I can't even saying right now. Oh. You ask, what were you thinking? Going back to the ABCs that alluded to earlier. What were you thinking when you hit your brother? What thought was in your head when you hit your brother? Where were you when you moved his pillow out of his room into your room? Oh, so didn't we have a conversation 2 days ago? You know how we start talking through our teeth? Some people know what you're talking about. Some people, they don't know that. When you're not talking through your teeth, you're really scared. Well, were you not supposed to be in your brother's room? We went over this yesterday. Well, I just want. Where were you? Oh, so does that mean I'm not supposed to be in there? Yes, sir. You're not supposed to be in there. Thank you for answering my question. You know, I was saying to my kids sometimes, I say, hello. They would think I was crazy. See, I'm not crazy. We already established that in the beginning, right?
Right. I'm not crazy.
You're not crazy. But I would ask better questions. What, when, where, how, and who? Basic open-ended questions that lead to facts. And let's get the facts first before we start having emotional conversations. See how I weaved it right back in there? The ABCs, what you feel, what you do, and what you think. Once I get the facts, I can deal with the emotion. But if I got to deal with emotions and I can't get any factual information, I'm already at a disadvantage.
Right.
Don't ask your children why. Now, you want to get frustrated. You want your blood pressure to go from 0 to 180. Start asking people why. Because they're going to be vague. And then some are going to get defensive because you asked them that question in the first place. Mommy, why are you talking to me like a walk, slow your roll? It's actually the way it was. The Bible says, and then they get mad. But that's just people ask better questions. The what, the whens, the where, the how, the who. Don't ask people why, or test it out and see. What happens when you ask somebody why? Especially, check this out, in a heated conversation. Woo.
Oh my.
You just raise the temperature 100 degrees. And don't call me again when the elephant is big, because I can't help you. See my nails?
That's a really good, knowing the ABCs, knowing what questions to ask, asking the right questions. Because I want to say, I'm gonna take a moment, and just, sisters, I love you because I am one, right? And we are good at asking 100 questions. I mean, I ask 1,000 in about a minute and expect you to answer every one. And the one you don't answer is the one I'm gonna pick up on, right? And I'm notorious for wanting to know why. Why? Every kid is notorious for wanting to know why, but I also can attest that when I ask that question, I already have a preconceived answer in my head.
Not you.
Oh my God, yes. And when you don't give me that answer, or I get this, my temperature is elevated beyond normal ranges, and ask my kids if you don't believe me, I turn to the crazy lady. So I think I actually love the fact that you pointed out knowing what questions to ask.
Right. And then the other to that is when you ask better questions, you get those answers, and the preconceivedness stuff kind of lends itself to going away some.
Okay.
And then you're really in a conversation.
That's
and
good.
You're listening.
That's good.
You're in a conversation and you're listening, because Jonathan's not always going to answer the question the way I want him to answer the question. But if I'm asking a good question and I'm willing to listen, then the next part of the conversation is the reflection back versus my opinion back.
Okay.
And you've done that very well tonight. I've said several things and you just reflected it back to me so well so that your listeners could break it down. And we want them to do the same thing. But when you already got your preconceived answer, you're speaking to that answer because you haven't even paid attention to what they said.
All right.
Not you, but all our listeners. Not you.
I'm taking notes. You can't see it, but I'm taking notes.
And that's what we want, is to have better communication. So if I'm asking good questions,
breathing.
And I'm breathing.
I'm breathing.
I'm holding my breath. People can't tell. Well, I want to see that chest rise and fall. The shoulders go down.
The shoulders. We'll get some good deep breaths in and out.
deep, and I want to see it because I can see it on the computer. I can see when people holding their breath right here. And I'll tell them your shoulders are tight. I can tell you don't like what I'm saying. And then you're gonna stop playing, you know. This is my first time on camera, people. Forgive me. This is my first time.
This is good. This is good. You know, so many of our viewers would have probably have been to therapy of some sort. But then on the same token, a lot of our viewers may not have been to therapy. And, you know, this is one of the ways that I want to help to do whatever part I can to break down those negative stigmatisms to therapy. And know to people, it's a normal. It is a good thing. It's a healthy thing. When you have, I was talking about it last week, Friday, as a matter of fact. I had a guest on my Friday show, and we were talking about how to break down the negative stigmatism as it relates to mental health in the church. And we were specifically talking about it from that perspective, from the church. And she gave some great insights. And here, I still want to continue to be able to break down that myth in every area. In every area. If we're going to be holistically healthy, then that includes my mind, my body, my spirit, my everything. I want to be healthy. And if I can entrust my physical health to a medical doctor, because I've recognized that they have an expertise in whatever area I'm in, whether it's my heart, my foot, my ears, my nose, whatever it is, I trust them to do that. Then I should understand that someone that is in your field, the Lord has anointed them for such a thing as this. And I have to be able to trust them to help me come to a place of wholeness. Whereas in your field, you really are helping me to come to a place where I'm able to bring healing. You're not bringing the healing. You're showing me how this is something that I have power over. Whereas in the medical profession, I am totally 100% going to let this person put me out cold, cut open my body, and practice medicine. And I trust it. But if there's a negative stigmatism on sitting and having a conversation with someone who can help you reflect back and reevaluate your thought process and come to a better conclusion to become a better you. I don't really understand how that works, how that negative stigmatism, why is it out there, and how it's continuing to be played up in any community, whether it's in the church, outside of the church, it doesn't matter. I can trust that you can go. I remember a few years ago, we were in England, and there was this young kid down in Florida practicing medicine. Yeah, and I said young kid, like he was getting away with fooling people and making them think that he was a medical doctor. And people just trusted that. Or you could go to a doctor and don't like the type of care that you're getting from a medical doctor, but you'll keep going. They'll keep giving you prescription after prescription after prescription after prescription after prescription. And you're not getting better, you're getting worse, but you keep going.
Right.
But if someone says, hey, you know what, sis, you know what, brother, or if it's a couple, you know what, I think you guys, y'all probably can benefit for some therapy. I know a great therapist, man. Go and, see this sister, go and see this brother. They're really good at what they do. I think they can be a blessing to you. And, my head get chopped off. But if I tell them, oh, your foot swell, let's go see the podiatrist. Okay. What's the difference?
Well, we're going to have many, many conversations now that I'm working with my lighting people and getting this all right. But you're right. And people expect me that I'm going to give them the answer. And I'm not. I'm going to facilitate you gaining the answer. But based upon the platform that you bring to me, and when I say platform, if you're a person of faith, I'm going to use faith. If you believe in Oprah, I'm going to use some of the positive things that Oprah says. If you believe in what Mama says and Mama's got some good advice, I'm going to say, well, what is it that keeps you from practicing what Mama said? or Mama Nim, as we might say. You know, some of y'all don't know. That's not M&M's. That's Mama Nim.
Mama and Nim. You gotta be country to know that.
I'm gonna use that platform, and I'm gonna ask excellent questions. And when you come up with that answer, I'm gonna say yes. And I might probe a little bit and say, well, you said this, but what about this? Oh no, Dr. Adams, you're right. Oh no, I'm not right. I'm taking that out of what you said to me. And if there's trauma in your relationship or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to leverage what you're saying out of that to help you get past it. If you're so depressed and you don't get out of bed and you don't want to eat and all these kind of things, I'm going to help you move out of that very concretely, very left-brainly. But eventually, we're going to help you to come to those answers yourself. You're already doing it with your friends. And by the time you come to me, they're so tired of hearing you say the same. I'm sorry, I'm middling now. But the rest of the matter is you didn't talk to them and told them so many. You done told a nail tech, the hairdresser, the doctor. Everybody know your business. You say, I don't know nobody in my business. But you tell everybody. Yeah, you're like Linus. Everywhere you go, everybody knows what's going on in your life. Use the therapeutic process to take what you're trying to get through and bring somebody in there that can help you. Because ultimately, I'm going to look at you and say, what have you done differently today based upon the revelation that you received last week?
Putting the onus of the responsibility back into their lap.
That is correct.
But that's
where last week I heard you say blah, 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 blah. And I'm wondering again, how did you act on that this week? Were you kinder to your kids? Do you use the half a second principle that I taught you? And the Bible is clear on that. I fight to capture every thought to bring it into the submission of Christ.
All right.
So if you have thoughts of killing yourself, that's not what God wants you to do. How did you act upon releasing some of that thought this week? If you had a thought to beat your kids, and the Bible doesn't tell you to beat your kids, but how do I help you to take the Bible's thought and put it in place of that thought? Oh, I'm not going to beat the word over you because God doesn't do that. But what is your platform of belief? And I'll ask people, and I know our time is running out, but I'll ask people sometime, who is the couple that you are mentoring your marriage behind?
Oh, that is an excellent question.
And they don't know. They don't know. They don't know if it's mom and daddy. They don't know if it's grandma and grandpa. Maybe they don't know. So if you don't have a platform for belief of marriage, then you already set yourself up to fail the minute you said I do.
All right now.
And that's just the truth. Because you don't know what your foundation is. And if you don't know what the foundation that you're trying to build is based upon, you're already in trouble when you're standing for the preacher.
There you go.
So let's go on and come within 6 weeks before the first argument happens. Come in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. There's your checking your oil of your marriage. But who does that? No one. Who preaches that? Maybe sometimes the pastor does.
Yeah. If you are in a great Bible-based, Spirit-filled congregation, the necessities, or I'll say that the necessities of the premarital counseling is emphasized regularly. How many of us practice that?
Listen, and how many of us going just to check the box?
Come on now.
And then, well, now we can get married. We got the white dress and all this going on, but no substance. No substance.
Yeah.
No substance for the marriage. So don't come see me too late. Don't come see me too late. Because then can this marriage be saved? Sometimes it can, sometimes it can't. But I mean, let's just sit back, drop our shoulders, take it a deep breath. You see how excited I got there for a second? Come back, Patricia. Go back. Oh, I just love talking about what I've learned in 20 years of doing this. And the more I'm in it, the more I love it. The more I'm in it, the more I know that it's time for me to be more proactive and more speaking into healthier relationships, not just with couples. The platform that we're building now is got a broad base. It's got a wider reach. We're so excited about some of the online stuff that we're doing for couples. We're getting ready to do a couples infidelity group online because, again, people are embarrassed to say my wife cheated on me or my husband cheated on me. So we're rolling that out. We'll talk about that a little bit more. And in that relationship, just so you know, as again, I'm just talking about that. I'm so excited. We have mentor couples like AA that's come alongside those couples where one spouse has had infidelity in the marriage because they've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And they can come along them as role models to help them rebuild the foundation that's cracked, that in some cases broken, may not be able to be repaired. But we also want to teach them how to be with each other after a situation like that, if they cannot to be together for their children. So this is a great opportunity for Zeitgeist to be present with you today. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but I own my own radio broadcast for many years called Look Up and Live. And I was on 1480 Gospel, 1480, your home of praise and inspiration. And it was a live talk show. And
Look
so I really like that.
Yeah.
Say that again.
You said it was called Look Up and Live.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Because that's literally what we have to do every day. That's literally what we have to do every day. Every day you open up. Every day you know that you wake up in soundness of mind. I have to know that I have to live. And what does living mean? Living for me, and I can define what living means. What does that mean for me? What does that level of success in my living mean to me? Someone else can't define it for me. Right. I have to define it, and I have to be willing to walk it out every single day. I've got to look up and live. No matter what's happening around me, Quasha has got to look up and live. Laquita's got to look up and live. You know, I love that. I think I have informed you thusly that I will be using that.
You can use it.
I am go ahead and asking permission. Thank you very much. I will be using that.
High five.
Got it. Yes.
So we're going back to that, and it is going to be live because I want to talk to people. I want to hear what people are saying. But I'm going to give you one last thing, and then I really got to go. You ready? Check this out. My handle on the Look and Live now is going to be Dr. Click. I told you this, girl.
Oh, you gotta tell me again.
Yeah, Dr. Click. So when you start acting crazy on my phone line, you're not listening, I'm going to go click, click, clickety, click, click, clank. We're hanging up on you. So that's my handle on the radio show. Dr. Click. Click, click, because you're not listening. Goodbye. Next. And I'm really going to do that clickety, click, click, click. We're getting the ringtone together for that now. It's gonna be my voice. Clickety click, click, click. Bye.
That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be awesome. Something that people definitely can benefit from during this time where life has been forced to be slowed down, and we're spending more time together. Look at it as my takeaway is look at it as a positive of getting back to a healthy family culture, a healthy family dynamic. A healthy relationship with your children, healthy relationship with your spouse, and whatever home looks like, because not every home is the same, right? So what family and home looks like for you, getting back to a place where that is healthy, that's a healthy environment, an environment that you want to be a part of, like not driving home and sitting out in your driveway saying, Jesus, fix it. I just need about 15 minutes. I need to go in there. Because I don't go in there. This is the time to fix that.
Amen.
So you want to be in there and you think it to yourself, I just really don't want to leave today because I could be doing so many more wonderful things with my significant other and my children. Let's get to that place. Let's embrace these opportunities that quarantine has given us in our homes. We're making our home life better. Yes, is there some negative things going on right now? Absolutely. We cannot deny that there are some negative things, but we don't have to focus on the negative. We can find the positive, focus on the positive, grow the positive. And the negative things are going to sort themselves out. If we're in the positive mindset, you might be surprised that you might find an answer to that negative thing that's going on.
Amen.
But you won't find that answer if everything that you're thinking and doing revolves around that negative thing that's happening, no matter what it is. And again, there's some serious negative things that are happening right now as a result of the quarantine. I don't want to take away from that. I don't want to minimize that.
That's right.
But some things are out of our power to affect change in that area. So stressing over things, that my husband says it all the time. And I used to get so mad at him, like I want to throw a shoe at him or something. And he would tell me, my husband calls me Quasha, and he says this: I can't stress what I can't change.
Mm.
And he says, I can't stress what I can't change. And the other thing that he says very regular is people's perception is their reality. Right now, what is your perception of your current situation? Whether it's a result of COVID-19 or just your situation in general, what is your perception? Because your perception will dictate how you respond. And again, we cannot stress what we cannot change. So think about the things you do have influence over, and that's your relationships in your home. And we can fix it. We can fix it. We can fix it. We can fix it.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you so much, Patricia. This hour has gone by really fast. It's been a great show, and I'm looking forward to having you back on a regular basis as we continue to help to eliminate and tear down those negative stigmatisms as it relates to the necessities of mental health, and looking forward to all of the wonderful tips and advice that you're going to be giving to our audience on how to think and live healthy as it relates to health.
Amen. So let's look up and live.
Yes,
absolutely. And we'll see each other again soon.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, everyone, thank you so much across Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have enjoyed this broadcast, please like and share, like and share, like and share. We'll be back with you next Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time right here, myself and Patricia, and we'll be giving you more information and more helpful tips on indeed how to look up and live. Until next time, I'm Laquita Monley, and you guys have a very, very, very blessed evening. Take care.